right, so welcome everybody. I hope you're having an amazing, amazing time. Can everybody see me on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, and you can see my slides, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, awesome. So this is about igniting your purpose with passion. This is 5 ways to be an empowered woman leader wherever you are in the organization. Even if you don't consider yourself to be a leader today, you are a leader in many, many ways.
I think you should proceed. We're right at 1:47, so please proceed.
Yep. So this session's all about celebrating your awesomeness, helping you be the best person you can be. It's about being a self-empowered woman leader wherever you are in the organization. It's about having a purpose.
No one is saying that they cannot hear you, so they should all be able to hear you just fine.
Are you talking to me, Patty?
Good. Yeah, we are good and we are hearing Patty. I don't think we need anything else. We are good.
Okay. It's about having a purpose to your life and being able to have that purpose guide you so that you can celebrate yourself and celebrate everything that you do. It's about having passion and having a purpose to what you want to do. It's about having a vision for yourself, and I'm going to help you craft or start to craft your personal leadership vision today. It's about being confident, because in today's business world, confidence is more important than your competence. And face it, when somebody's confident, it shows. So we're going to talk about all of these things. And most importantly, this is about being the best you, because everybody else is taken. Don't compare, don't compete, collaborate and communicate and be the best you so that you can be strong, you can stand up, and you can stand out. So my mission in life is not just to survive, but to thrive. To do this with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and a little bit of style, right? I love quotes. You'll see a lot of these throughout the whole sessions. So this is our agenda. I'm going to share with you the 5 proven ways to be a woman leader. And this actually came from my own personal passion to make a difference and empower every woman and girl to be the best they can be in any endeavor they choose. It also came from the research I did for my book that I'll talk about later, when I interviewed over 3,250 men and women leaders about what makes a great woman leader. And I spent 3 years pulling together all these best practices and came down to these 5 things. Number 1, be strong. Number 2, stand up. Number 3, stand out. Number 4, be number 1. And number 5, pay it forward. And we're going to go through all of these with exercises and activities. So I'm hoping we can get with this and it will work, and maybe we can do some shout outs or we can call out some of the things in the chat box. And I'm going to have you end with one thing you want to do to start being a more empowered woman leader, one thing you want to continue doing, and one thing you want to stop doing that's getting in your way. And hang around to the end because I have a very special conference offer for everyone. But first off, where's everybody from? Are you from the Americas, Europe, Asia, Middle East, or Africa, or other? I couldn't think of another country, and I only had 5 places to go. So where are people from? Oops. Oop, I can see the chat now. Yay! Boston, Americas, USA, all over the place. I got the chat box up. Yay! I'm so happy. Outstanding. So the next question is, are you a talented technical transformer? Are you a sales superstar? Are you a marketing marvelous maven? Are you an outstanding operations optimizer? Or are you an other radical rockin' responder? Technical transformers. All right. How about a few others in the chat? Cybersecurity, technical transformer. 4, outstanding operations optimizer. An other, you're in IT. Awesome. Awesome. I love Witty. It's such an amazing group, and this conference has been outstanding. I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and my story. So, you know, I started out as a typical young girl, middle class family. My dad started teaching me tennis when I was 7 years old, so I grew up in a very sports-oriented environment. I had the typical dad who worked for the same company for 45 years and stay-at-home mom. And my dad raised me to believe I could do anything I put my mind to. He even used to tell me I could do anything a boy could do and I could do it better. So I raised with a very strong influence. I graduated from high school at 16 and started going to college when I was actually still in my senior year of high school. I got out of college and I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to make a difference in the world, and I thought teaching was a great way to do that. And so I went into teaching, but unfortunately, California passed a state law or legislation that impacted the budget, so I was laid off as a new teacher. And I'd been working part-time at a bank kind of in college, and so I went into banking because my godfather had been in that field. And I fell into banking as a job, and I found a career I loved. And by the time I left, I went from a part-time teller to vice president of customer and people excellence by age 27. I was actually the youngest woman vice president they ever had at this big California bank. And then I quit that career and started my own training consulting company because I wanted to have a bigger impact on the world. I wanted to have a bigger influence and do more leadership development courses. In 1998, I got a call from Microsoft who says, we want to hire you. We need somebody just like you to help transform our company from being an organization of all techno geeks to being trusted business advisors and train our people to do different things. And so I started out in the customer partner experience team. I was there for 15 years, always in the enterprise space. And I even took a leap of faith and moved to Singapore for 3 years and ran the Asia Pacific region of customer and partner experience team for Asia Pacific for 3 years. Now I was there for 15 years and I had an amazing 14-year career. And that picture, the last picture, while it's not of me, was me sitting at my desk, being overworked, stressed out, exhausted, working 70, 80 hours a week, working every night and every weekend, giving up everything I knew and loved about myself for work. And I almost killed myself. I literally had a doctor that told me if I didn't take a sabbatical, I would die in 6 months. That event sparked me on that quest to write my book and to make a difference in the world by empowering women and leaders to be the best they can be. And that's why I do what I do today. So let's get started on these 5 things in just a minute. So never let anybody tell you you can't. Be real, be you, be authentic. Be your favorite kind of woman and don't let anybody else take that away from you. I was handed a project by Steve Ballmer to roll something out across all of Asia in 6 months and was told it was impossible. And my answer to people was, watch me. And we rolled it out in 4 months. And so I just put my head down and do what I need to do. Now, sometimes when I speak, especially when I'm speaking to a group of younger women, they say, do we really still have to fight and break this glass ceiling? Because my book, my mantra is all about women kicking glass. And the answer is yes, we've come a long way, baby. But you know the statistics where women still make less than men. Caucasian women making 79 cents on a dollar compared to a man who makes $1. And women of color, the number's far worse and low. It's low in some cases in the low 60s to the low 70s in terms of equal pay. The interesting thing, according to the latest research, it will take to 2,227 to get to pay parity if we keep doing what we're doing. We still have workplaces with sexual harassment. More and more young women are graduating from universities and colleges and going into the workplace and then dropping out at some point in time. The one picture with the drugs there on the side, the scary thing for us that are parents who have children is that the #1 crime on most college campuses is date rape. And it's not about sex, it's about power over women. And I said this on one of the chats this morning, there are still 13 states in the US who've not passed the Equal Rights Amendment. 13 states. And some are fighting it. So you can go online to look up the 13 states where it's not passed and reach out to your legislatures to get this effort changed. So we have to do something and we have to empower ourselves. So what are 5 things you can do? We're going to go through each one of these 5 things and have some exercises to go with many of them. So get ready to get busy in that chat box. Number is be strong. Play to your strengths and be the best you. Now, when I was young, I was in a girls' association and I was elected to be the youngest woman president of this girls' organization at age 15. And at the time, you're supposed to pick a motto and a song for your term of office. And the song I picked was, I Gotta Be Me. Now, probably none of you know what the song is or what it's about, but it was written by Sammy Davis Jr., a man of color, who had a really challenging life and even at one point in time had a car accident where he lost his eye, so he's got a glass eye. But his song, I Gotta Be Me, resonated with me. Now, I promise you, I will not sing, because I'm a terrible singer. The words are something like, whether I'm right or whether I'm wrong, Whether I find a place in this world or never belong, I gotta be me. So develop a healthy self-belief. And we're going to go through a quick exercise to help you find your strengths, because if you play to your strengths and you know where you're really great, then you have to only get your weaknesses to an average level to be successful. But a strong belief knowing I'm really good at this, this is my passion in life. And then being vulnerable to be able to admit that I would be a terrible coder, right? I'm a passionate sales and marketing training person who loves what they do, but you would not want me to be a coder in your company. It would just not work because I can't color in the lines, and I have a hard time even filling out an expense report, even though the company owes me money sometimes, because I can't keep track of the receipts. I'm just not a big picture. I'm a big picture person. I'm not a detailed person, but I hire someone to be my detailed person. I will almost guarantee you someplace in this slide deck, you are going to find a typo, even though I have proofed this and proofed this and proofed this and had people proof it for me. I just don't see those things. So focus on your game and your unique talents, because when you focus on your strengths, you're more productive, you're happier, you have higher job satisfaction, greater opportunity for promotions if you focus on your strengths. If you focus on your weaknesses all the time, you're going to bring yourself down. So focus on those unique talents and passions that you have. Now, this idea that we're born with a set of preferences actually dates back to Plato. Plato had a philosophy and a theory that people are born with a set of preferences, just like you're born with whether you're right or left-handed. Around the 1920s, a Swiss doctor named Dr. Carl Jung kind of fine-tuned that and actually did research that shows people have a set of preferences for how they think, how they make decisions, whether they're task or people-focused, whether they're direct or indirect, whether or not they make decisions based on their head versus their heart, how fast they communicate, how loud they communicate, all that is a set of preferences. And you've probably all heard of the Myers-Briggs type indicator. That's actually a mother-daughter team after World War II that started doing these preferences so they could find the right jobs for people coming back from the war. Probably one of the most popular is DISC, and then now it's Discover Your Strengths with Gallup and Marcus Buckingham's work. So to demonstrate this set of preferences, take out a piece of paper and a pen, and I want you to write your name with your dominant hand. So if you're right-handed, write your name 3 times with your right hand. First name, last name, signature, print, don't care, just write it really fast. Write it with your dominant hand. Go. Now you can type this in the chat box. How did that feel? How did it feel when you wrote with your normal hand? It felt fine. It felt natural. It was comfortable. It was easy because it's your preference. Now, if you're like me and many young girls growing up when I grew up that went to Catholic school, if you were left-handed, the nuns would slap you on the hand and make you write with your opposite hand, which I'm sure caused some kind of mental damage in many of us who had to switch to the opposite hand, and handwriting never did get very good. Now put your pen in your opposite hand. So if you're right-handed, put it in your left hand and write your name 3 times. I was fixed to be a right-handed person. Felt terrible, awful, uncomfortable. You don't even know how to hold the pen. And I guarantee you, if you tried to do that for too long, you would develop tension in your shoulder and your neck and your back. Now you can write with your opposite hand. So even if something's not your strength, you can get better at it, but it will never be you. It'll never be comfortable, right? It looks pretty funny. It looks horrible. I mean, I can't write with my left hand, my right hand, let alone my left hand. Okay, let's have some fun here. We're gonna have a lot of fun today. So I've got 4 birds on this slide. I have an eagle, a peacock, an owl, and a dove. And I want you to think about these birds in nature because we learn a lot from nature. And I want you to type in the chat box, are you more of an eagle? Are you more of a peacock? Or are you more of an owl? Or are you more of a dove? Right, so somebody says dove, dove, owl, 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 dove, eagle. Come on, there's got to be a peacock in there. Eagle. I don't know. Well, I'll show you how you can figure that out in a couple of different ways. Eagle, owl, okay, peacock, all different styles. All right, so write one word that describes your style. Write one word that describes your style or your MO, which stands for your modus operandi. So what word do you, what word would you use to describe your style? So transparent, persistent, observant, honest, collaborative, true, friendly, strong, cordial, caring, knowledgeable, friendly, resilient. I love that. Resiliency is a critical word. Now, what is one downside of your strength under stress? Because every strength to an extreme becomes a weakness. So if somebody ever says you're too caring, you're too analytical, you're too aggressive, or you're too creative, I can be intimidating, right? I can get frustrated. I could be, you know, criticizing everything. I could be too detailed. I could be too emotional. I can be annoyed. Those are times when your strength has gone into the TOO or the 2 zone, when that strength has become a weakness. That's why you need to balance it off with different people in your team. So what does this all mean? Your preferences look at 2 different dimensions. One, people are usually more direct or they're indirect. So direct people are going to be people, if you ask them, where do you want to go for lunch today? They're going to say, let's go to Thai food. If you ask an indirect person, where do you want to go to lunch today? They're probably going to say, I don't know, where do you want to go? And if they're an owl, they're going to be looking in Yelp to figure out the reviews, to figure out what's the best place based on all the reviews, right? So direct people tend to talk. They tend to talk loud. They tend to talk fast. They tend to make quick decisions. Indirect people tend to be more quiet. They tend to be more calmer. They talk lower. They talk slower, and they need time to think. They don't want to be asked a spontaneous decision. On the other side, people are either task or relationship focused. So people that are task focused make decisions with their head. People that are relationship focused make decisions based on their heart. If a task-oriented person was to hire someone from the team, they'd be looking at the person's resumes and credentials and certifications and background. The relationship-focused people are going to be looking at, are they a good fit for the team? Do I click with that person? So each one of these styles fits within those dimensions. So your eagles are going to be direct and task-focused. And they're probably, their favorite saying is be bold, be brave, be bold, be gone, be brilliant, right? Quickly. Eagles are direct, decisive doers. So they get things done. On the downside, under the line, they can be dominating and aggressive. They can sometimes offend people and not know it. Your peacocks are direct. So they're going to be more willing to tell you. They're going to be more active, and they're going to be, but they're more relationship focused. So they're inspirational, they're interactive, they're interesting, they're creative. On the downside, they can be impulsive and overly creative and not come to a decision. All of these have good sides and downsides. Now you can go online and take a free disc profile and just type in free disc, capital D, small I, capital SC, and you can take a free disc profile, or we can talk about some other options a little bit later. Your owls are complete. They're cautious, they're organized, they're structured, they're careful. But on the downside, they could be someone who's slow to change. Sometimes they can be overly critical. They always think they're right, and they have analysis paralysis. The doves are supportive, sincere, strong team players. They're caring, they're loving, they're giving. They give and give and give and give, and sometimes they give so much, they have little left for themselves. But they can be too sensitive and too caring. So the idea is play to your strengths so that you can find jobs and roles that fit those strengths and you can be more productive. Now, another way for finding your strengths is asking yourself some questions. What do I love doing? What do people come to me for advice on? People always came to me for advice on the next creative, innovative way of doing something. They didn't come for me to advice to help them organize or structure their day. It wouldn't have worked. What energizes you and what drains you? If something drains you, it's not a strength. You have to figure out a way to get those things done, but it's not a strength, like schedule time in your day to make sure that those things happen. And what do you find yourself doing when nobody's watching? What's your passion project at home? Where do you volunteer your time? What do you do? But find your strengths, be the best you, and be able to be someone that finds those jobs that fit those strengths. You'll be much happier. I make career and life decisions based on my strengths and based on the second principle of being able to stand up, right? So success in life is doing what you love and doing it with passion, right? Lots of passion. Number 2, create your own personal leadership vision. And I'm going to give you an assignment today, and I'm going to give you a start on it today. And then I want you to spend the next week, month, or period of time to fine-tune that decision so you can make the right decisions for your career and life. Number 1, you need to establish your purpose with passion by having a personal vision, the kind of leader, the kind of person you want to be. And then I want you to envision your future and be future focused on, this is the kind of person I want to be. So if I have 2 job opportunities, I'll use a real example. So my personal vision is to make a difference and empower people. And now I say women and girls to be the best they could be. I used to just say people. Now it's women and girls. When I worked at Microsoft, I had a chance to take 2 different international assignments. I could have gone to Asia. And in Asia, we had a corporate staff of about 60 people across 28 countries. The other job was in Europe. There was a staff of 1,000 people across 25, 26 countries. I picked Asia. Why? Because it's where I could have the best opportunity to make a difference. A staff of 60, a staff of 1,000. Was I going to be a little fish in a big fish in a little pool, or was I going to be a small fish in a really big pool of a whole bunch of people and get completely lost? Best career and life decision I ever made. So align your life, your vision, your brand to that career and to that vision of how you want to be. So I'm going to tell a couple quick stories about vision. I won't tell all of these, but the concept of vision actually started in ancient times when a Swiss philosopher was looking at why some countries were more successful than others and why some countries that came from nowhere, like Egypt, Greece, Rome, the UK, United States, these small little countries at the time that didn't have the natural resources, they didn't have the population, the people to become world powerhouses, but they had a vision of what they could do. The other picture up in the corner with the people, that's actually from concentration camp in Nazi Germany. Dr. Viktor Frankl wrote a book about his experience being in a concentration camp. And what he studied was, why did some people survive? He found that every one of the people that survived, that didn't give up and commit suicide or unfortunately were killed, was because they had something important left to do. They had a vision. One man had a vision of walking his daughter down the aisle at her wedding. One had a vision of being able to plant flowers again. Viktor Frankl's vision was to be able to go stand in front of auditoriums with thousands of people and tell them what happened in the concentration camps so it never happened again. John Kennedy had a vision to put a man on the moon by the end of the decade. We put a man on the moon in July of 1969, 6 months ahead of putting a man on the moon. Before that vision that united the country and the people and the engineers at NASA, it was a very dysfunctional organization, and the common goal or vision to move and have that available and have that vision, put a man on the moon, united people around him. It became popular in sports with Jean-Claude Killy, who would envision himself winning the gold medal. He'd sit at the top of the mountain with his eyes closed and moving back and forth and swaying back and forth. And at the end, he'd open his eyes and raise his arms, but he was still sitting on the bench at the top of the mountain. When a press reporter asked him what he was doing, he said, "I was envisioning my success." I think probably everybody knows the Ballmer Gates story. I have to be loyal to Microsoft because I was there for 15 years. I still have a hard time using Google, and I still can't use an Apple phone, but that's just I think I was mentally programmed. I drank the Kool-Aid. The woman in the middle, on the bottom, is Mary Kay of Mary Kay Cosmetics, who had a vision to help every woman feel beautiful and formed a multi-billion-dollar company. And then the young woman is the woman who was the CEO of Stitch Fix, who had a vision of making affordable clothing available to anybody, anywhere, anytime. So those were their visions. So a personal vision is a statement about who you want to be, a desired future state for your life. If you're looking out 5 years and you're seeing yourself, what is that vision of who you want to be? It's a roadmap to guide your why. When people say, why do you do what you do? People ask me that, why do I do what I do? I can very easily say, to make a difference and empower women and girls to be the best they can be. It's a signpost to keep you on course. There's times I've guided off course, but then I go back to my vision and say, am I living up to this? It's a gauge to guide our actions and a compass to keep you on track. So here's what we're going to do. Little girls with dreams become women with vision. Walt Disney once said, cherish your dreams because they're the visions of your childhood. So I want you to imagine for a minute, in 5 years, you're going to be on your favorite TV show as a strong, empowered woman leader. In the chat box, I want you to write down all the words and adjectives that come to mind of what people are saying about you. Like, made a difference, empowering, credible, competent, compassionate. Just throw some words up in the chat box. Throw the words and adjectives in your mind of the kind of person that you want to be. So start chatting in the chat box. Confident, inspiring, expert, influencer, funny, trailblazer, credible and funny. All right. So what I want you to do is over the next couple weeks is take some time, go to your favorite place, take your favorite pen and your favorite journal, and just keep adding words to this list: compassionate, inspirational, empowering, funny, credible. And then I want you to take some time and literally write out a personal vision statement for you, usually about 16 words or less. So I could take some of your words and say, she is I'll use Vanetti. Vanetti is a credible, empowering, inspirational, compassionate leader who makes a difference in the world. That's your vision statement, right? So just take some time and go to your favorite place. I took about a month. When I went from rock star to rock bottom at Microsoft, when I had that crash and burn, what brought me back was I realized I stopped living my vision and I stopped believing in myself, and I had to come back stronger than ever. And then use your strengths and your vision to make decisions and celebrate the real you. Use it to keep you on course. If you've got 2 jobs to look at, ask yourself which one best fits my strengths and which one best fits my vision. I took jobs that were lateral jobs because I knew if I took this role, it would give me the skills to take this next role on the way up. So use that to guide your life. So these are probably the 2 longest of the 2 principles. Vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision passes the time. Action with vision can change the world. Take a sip. Number 3, I told you there'd be a typo. That should say number 3. I could give a prize to whoever could point that out. Remember, competence and confidence equals success. And that confidence is more important than competence in today's world. So this is my 3 V's. Be valuable, be visible, be vocal. Take those strengths and your vision and develop mastery. Become great at your craft. Take workshops. I did a Witty workshop a couple weeks ago, last week, on building resiliency that should be on the Witty site. Take advantage of free learning opportunities. Take advantage of, community college. Take classes. Go get certifications. Do things to round out your career. Volunteer for cross-department activities where you can get more exposure and be more visible. Right? Be visible. Sit at the table. We're going to practice a couple power poses in a minute, and you're going to laugh, but we're going to do this. So sit at the table. If you're in that big meeting room, and it's a big meeting room, and maybe it's an all hands and somebody's there, or it's even in a Zoom meeting nowadays, raise your hand, ask questions, sit at the table. Research shows that people that sit at the conference table in a meeting room get heard. The people on the sideline don't get heard, right? Get a coach. Get a friend, right? We'll talk about that in a little bit about getting a mentor and being a mentor. Learn to toot your own horn and toot other women's horns. How many times has somebody said to you, that was great, you did a great job. That presentation was awesome. You absolutely nailed it. And what is the first thing most women say? Oh, I could have done better. Oh, I forgot this stat. Or my slides were out of order. Or I forgot to put the number 3 on the slide, which now I've got to go fix now. We toot your own horn and toot other women's horns and help them be strong. Now, a lot of times if you do a good job, the response from many women will be, my team did this. Change that. Be able to say, my team and I did this. So you're still giving credit to your team, but you're also taking credit for yourself. Keep an accomplishment file. Every time you do something once a week, at least once a month, write down all of your accomplishments. So when it comes time for promotion and performance review, or you're looking for that next job, you have a whole list of everything you've done. We're too busy to remember. So make a point for every Friday to write down all your accomplishments for the week. And balance doing your job with managing your career. Many women make the mistake of doing their job so well, they forget about the career side of it. I actually did this myself, and it's one of these, if people ask me what is the one thing I might have regretted in my life, is that I didn't go after a PhD, because I was too busy doing my job and helping everybody else to manage my career and maybe get that PhD that I thought would give me some credibility. But now I'm at an age where I don't care anymore. I am who I am, hopefully. All right, so when you look at these poses of these women, right, are you saying you're powerful or not? If you're standing there with your hands on your hips and your shoulders are back and you're standing confident, that says confidence. If you're sitting comfortably in a chair in a meeting, that says confidence. Body language has to do with space and depth or breadth. So taking up more space, having your shoulders back, doing the superwoman pose, right? Leaning forward to take in, leaning into taking a compliment and just being able to say thank you. Or yes, I did rock that presentation. If you're doing things like this, or you sit in a meeting room and make yourself look small, that does not display confidence, and the research on body language is pretty powerful. It's not just the old, if I'm standing like this, I'm a defensive, which could also mean you're cold, but the body language signals whether or not you're confident or not. So if you go into a meeting room and you take up as little space as possible, that doesn't say confidence. That doesn't say confidence. So you need to be able to stand up and do that. So I'm going to have you do this. I'm going to have you stand up. I'm going to have you put your hands on your hips and put your feet shoulder distance, or your feet shoulder distance apart, and just stand up for a minute. And I want you to say, I am bold, brave, and brilliant. Okay, go. I am bold, brave, and brilliant. Now, I did a workshop for 50 young tech girls the week before the COVID shutdown on a Saturday. And I had 50 young tech girls all standing up yelling, I'm brave, I'm bold, I'm brave, I'm brilliant. And they were amazing. Their empowerment was off this chart. Another great quote, I'm not lucky, you know what I am. I'm smart, I'm talented, I take advantage of opportunities that come my way. I work really, really hard, and don't call me lucky, call me a badass, from Shonda Rhimes. So remember those things. So put yourself first on your things to do list is number 4. Practice the art of self-care. You see, you can't give away what you don't own. If you don't have strong self-empowerment, self-esteem, self-confidence, you can't give that to your children, to your family, to anyone around you. Take care of yourself. Don't make the mistake I did and work so hard that you almost work yourself into a frenzy, right? From rock star to rock bottom. Eat, pray, love, be active. Take time to do the things you love. Schedule time on your calendar to actually do something unique, like when we all go back to work, to actually eating a lunch with real people and not over your laptop or your computer or your screen. Take time for yourself, because if you work too hard, it is going to come around to hurt you, right? So people want to connect with me. I've got some information at the end that I can connect with you all. Also, women tend to, one of the reasons we get our confidence so low is that we're constantly striving for perfection and not just excellence. So there's a couple techniques to do that. So striving for perfection, it's impossible. It's never perfect. It'll never be perfect, but strive for excellence. And there's 2 techniques you can use. One is the oh well method, right? Which I'll share in a second. So if you look at this definition of perfectionism and imagine that we're passing this on to our children. Perfectionism is a personality trait characterized by a person striving for flawlessness, setting super high performance standards, be accompanied by overly being self-critical and self-evaluations and concern regarding others' evaluations. That is not helpful for us, for our careers, for our lives, for anything that we have. So one of them is to learn the power of, oh, well. When something doesn't go right, instead of beating yourself up, just go, oh, well, I'll do better next time. So that's one thing you can just do, even if you just do it for yourself. Oh, well, I made a mistake on that one slide. It's not the end of the world. I'm not perfect. Make a joke out about it. Being humor and having humility is actually a great leadership trait of being humble. The second one is something called the 5-second rule. All of you have probably heard of Mel Robbins. If not, there's a link there to her YouTube video, and there's actually a book on this, a book and some training list with Mel Robbins about the 5-second rule. So we've probably all heard that positive affirmations are important, and they are. The problem is the brain is so programmed that in many cases, if you say something negative like, I'm not any good at details, that's programmed into my brain. So brain research is showing this. And if you try and change that and say, I'm really great at details, your brain's going to block it. But if you use the 5-second rule, you have a better chance of that pattern being broken and that blockage coming apart. So if you say something you want to change, your brain's going to block it. But then you use the 5-second rule of saying 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So I'll show you how this works. So a lot of women suffer from, I'm not good enough. So say this is a negative thought you have. And I'm going to actually do something crazy in a minute. So say, write down one thing on a piece of paper, someplace in your office, a scrap piece of paper, because we're going to crunch it up and throw it away. I'm going to have you write one negative thought that you say about yourself. I'm not good enough. I'm not talented enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not thin enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not this enough. And just write that on a little piece of paper. Write it down. Okay. I'm going to have you count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 out loud or in your head. And then I want you to take that piece of paper and throw it away. Throw it away. Every time you have a negative thought, just throw it away. And then I want you to say, I'm great at this. I'm excited to do it, and I can see myself being successful. And then your positive affirmations are going to stick. So I'm great at details. I love doing this kind of stuff, and I could see myself being successful at it. So try that. Try the 5-second rule. A woman with a voice is by definition a strong woman, and be brave, be bold, be brave, be brilliant. And this is one of my favorite. If plan A doesn't work, the alphabet has 25 more letters, so just stay cool. So we can do it. You got more opportunities to go. So final one, pay it forward. Connect, don't compete. The number one thing, I had a friend who wrote a book about what men say which holds women back. The number one thing men said that hold most women back is competing with each other and not helping others succeed. While men compete, they also help each other. So Madeleine Albright's the former Secretary of State of the United States, and she said there should be a special place in hell for women who don't help other women succeed. Now, find a mentor, a sponsor, be a mentor, and be willing to ask for help. When I went from that rock star to rock bottom, I didn't ask for help. I could have asked for help of my manager, and by the time I did ask for help, it was too late. I was going out on a sabbatical to get my life back in order again. Find a mentor. Now, a mentor is someone usually outside your organization or outside your team that you can bounce ideas off of. You can share ideas. They can maybe give you some resource. A sponsor is someone who's willing to go to bat for you. They're willing to say, she's ready for this next promotion, right? And be a mentor. Wherever you are in your career, you can be a mentor for someone else. Amplify other women's success. Speak up for her. If you're in a meeting, you've all been in these meetings, and a woman says something that's brilliant. It's the right answer to the problem you're trying to solve, and it goes unnoticed. And the man across the room says the same thing, and he gets all the credit. And people say, oh, that was brilliant. You need to be able to stand up for that woman and say, you know what? She had a great idea, and I think we need to take some time to explore it. Or raise your hand and say, I'm not sure you heard me. Here was my ideas. And then raise brave girls and compassionate boys. Raise girls that, I grew up playing sports, and whether your children play sports or not, I think they should do something that's a team activity where they can learn how to play well together, how to keep score, how to win and how to lose. And compassionate boys. My son was incredibly popular in college because we started teaching him to cook and clean and take care of things from the time he was very young. And when he got to college, he was one of the few boys that actually knew how to cook something other than macaroni and cheese and hot dogs. I mean, he made one prom. I'll share a funny story. One prom, he decided to, I think it was homecoming, and not prom. He decided he was going to make dinner for his girlfriend instead of going out to dinner. So he prepared a complete dinner of chicken Alfredo, which was her favorite, salad, garlic bread, had one of those bottles of sparkling wine before they went to the dance. And he made her a beautiful gourmet dinner in our home. And it was the most special night they had. And it's just, just because he knew how to cook, and he was a compassionate boy. So raise compassionate boys that realize it's okay to throw like a girl. It's okay to play like a girl. And it's okay to be a girl, but also learn how to compete and how to work together with other folks. See, when women support each other, incredible things happen. Now, this is being recorded, so you can get the recording and hopefully the slides as well, because I know there's a lot of content on the slides. So if not, I'll give you my information to reach out for me. Now, I'm not trying to be political here at all. I just happen to love this quote, and I wanted to make sure to give credit. You know, one of the lessons I learned growing up was to always be true to ourselves and not let somebody else distract you from your original goal. That's why you need your strengths. That's why you need a personal vision that keeps you centered, that keeps you on course. When the going gets tough, the tough go back to their vision and say, am I living up to this? And am I being the kind of person I know I want to be? My personal vision, when I sat there and said, where would I be in 5 years? I was sitting on the Ellen DeGeneres show. And I was being interviewed by Ellen, and all my friends and family were around me talking about me as a leader. And so that's how I came to my vision. That was what I was thinking about, is how do I get on the Ellen show? Still trying to do that. So if you could sit on a bench with yourself, this chat exercise, what one word of advice would you give yourself? And I'll give you my contact information and a special offer in just a few minutes. So if you could sit on a bench with yourself and give yourself one piece of advice, what would it be? Be strong. Let's get some more chats going. Be strong, be resilient, believe in yourself, stay cool. There's 25 other letters in the alphabet. If plan A doesn't work, be confident, raise your voice, find a mentor, be happy. Don't worry, be happy. Take the risk, it's worth the risk. I mean, can you imagine this? When I took the job in Singapore, I'd been to Singapore twice. I traveled internationally for Microsoft my whole career. We've been to Singapore twice. And I called my husband the second time I was there and said, I think it was in 2000. And I said, I think I could see us living here. In 2004, I accepted the job to move to Singapore, and my husband moved with me. He didn't have a passport. He'd never been in Singapore at all until I accepted the job and we were going for the house hunting trip. So also surround yourself with supportive people. If there are people that put you down, don't hang around with those people. Find people that lift you up, not people that try and tear you down. Surround yourself with positive people. My message is, dear younger self, stay strong. The best is yet to come. Love me. So your leadership action plan, we still have some time. So what one thing will you start doing? What one thing will you continue doing? And what one thing will you stop doing to be an empowered woman leader? Now just go do it. Yeah, if you have negative family members in your life, just don't spend a lot of time with them. I had to divorce my sister-in-law, who was beyond Debbie Downer. Stop worrying, trust yourself. Yeah, start believing in yourself. You're too good. You were placed on this planet for a reason. Go live to your full potential, right? So I always think about what one thing would I start doing, what one thing would I stop doing, what one thing I would continue doing. You know, stay away from the negative culture, get rid of get rid of self-doubt. Yeah, be strong, stand up, stand out, be number one, and pay it forward. All right, awesome. I'll go to some questions in a minute, but here's two special offers, right? One special offer is you can get a copy of my book, Quiet Women Never Change History, Be Strong, Stand Up, Stand Out, that's filled with all the research and practical things and goes into these in all details. You can get a copy of my book for only $10. That includes shipping and handling and $200 in free bonuses. It's usually on Amazon for $18.95. You can either do one of two things. You can go to womenkickinglass.com/book and immediately get a copy of the book that way. Or you can email me and then I'll send you the link if you want to be able to do that, but you can connect with me on that email. I also have a Women Kicking Glass 2 page that you can join that. Best workshop in the day. Thank you. Have confidence. Can you send me can you put the link in the chat? That's a dang good question. I'm trying to see if I can. Oh, there it is. Thank you. Yeah, it's womenkickinglass.com/book is what it is. So BOOK at the end. That's the easiest way to get there. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you who just put that in. Yeah, so this has been a blast. I appreciate all that you do. I am, I think I might have had another slide. So I've done quite a number of witty webinars. So if you want to have someone come in and do speaking or do webinars or workshops, those kind of things, you can also reach me at pattiegrimes@live.com. And then there's my Facebook page, Women Kicking Glass 2. I try and post something almost every day. Sometimes it's an inspirational quote. Sometimes it's a link to an article or YouTube. I'm a research geek, so I'm always looking for new things, new information. So I'm glad you've enjoyed this. I'm open for questions. If there are any questions people want to type in the chat box, I'm not in the Q&A or the chat box. I'm happy to spend a few minutes answering questions. And then Vanita, if you see any questions that maybe I'm missing, please let me know.
Sure. What is your recommendation on finding a good mentor?
Finding a good mentor?
Kavita, yes.
Look for someone that's 1 to 2 levels above you in an organization. So somebody who's been there. Look for somebody who's doing a job that you admire, that you think this person is really a great leader. So look for someone that has the characteristics you're looking for. Look for someone usually outside your department. So if you're if you're a technical transformer, you might want to work for a marketing maven because you can learn something new from them. Or find somebody just in a slightly different area. Reach out to them and say, I admire your work. I love what you're doing. I won't take a lot of your time, but I would love it if you could be my mentor. Now, I heard on the COVID presentation today that women who have men mentors earn more money. So don't be afraid to ask a man to be your mentor. I worked with one incredible leader. If anybody knew this man at Microsoft, I would walk through fire for this man. His name is Orlando Ayala. He's from Colombia. He's an executive vice president, or he worked his way up from being country manager of Colombia to be an executive vice president with Microsoft. And he only mentors women. So I interviewed him for my book. And he said he only mentors women. And I asked him why. He said, because women are willing to take your advice, to do the things they need to do, improve themselves. He said, quite frankly, I can't put up with men's ego. That women come in willing to learn, and like Vanita's smiling, right? I can't put up with the women's ego. And he's an incredible man. Like I said, there are many of us that worked for him or worked with him that would walk through fire for him to this day, because he was such an amazing, amazing leader. And if you ever needed him, he was always there. So find a mentor, a couple levels up, doing a job or something you admire, someone you think is good, or even outside of your company. If you're in Witty or you're in another association, find someone that works for another company and get their perspective, but definitely outside your department. I hope I didn't talk too fast. I was so afraid of running out of time. And I wanted to leave some time for question. People can find me on LinkedIn and connect that way, or you can just email me. I'm pretty open and transparent with that. Any other questions?
Did you? Hi, Patty. This is Sam
Hi, Sam.
under PFOX 2019 because I'm on 2 sessions. But my question is, just in case it slipped through you by the chat, does one get too old to have a mentor or sponsor?
No, no. And I had probably my 2 best sponsors were men. And they were both British gentlemen that really took an interest in my career and put me on that fast track and put me on an executive potential program at Microsoft. And I don't think you're too old, because I think you may even want to consider reverse mentoring. You may even want to consider getting somebody younger than you that you can both learn from each other, but maybe they can teach you some of the technology tricks, tricks and tips that we sometimes struggle with, as we're not as familiar with some of the social media type stuff. They might be able to open your eyes in a different perspective. So don't be afraid of reverse mentoring either. I don't think you're ever too old.
Thank you. And I like that reversement, because right now I have a virtual assistant, and she's probably half my age, and she's kicking butt.
Yeah.
She's agile.
Yep. Yep. The session I did on Witty last week, the webinar is called I think it's called Building Emotional Agility. Will you bend or will you break? And it's all about emotional agility, or resiliency, emotional agility, and grit. 4 things all women need. So be able to be resilient, which means you're like instead of being breaking in a storm or in the COVID situation, that you're able to bend like a rubber band, but you don't break. Being resilient is to be able to learn from your successes and failures so you can become stronger the next time. And look up a YouTube video by a woman named Susan David, Dr. Susan David. She has a book on emotional agility that's incredible, and she has an emotional agility quiz that you can take. But her thing is that if you want to go through life expecting everything to be calm and everything to be flat, you're a flatliner. And here's her quote: if you expect your life to be perfect and flatline, you have the goals of dead people. And you will love her YouTube. So Dr. Susan David, exactly how it's spelled, D-A-V-I-D, and just look up YouTube for her and you'll find her. She's out of South Africa. She's incredible. And of course, any of the works by Brene Brown are awesome too. So, yep, no, that was my last slide. All right. We're done a few minutes early, so you have a little bit of a break. I can't believe we got all this in this period of time. Wow. And please reach out to me if I can help you and your company. I could do this webinar for you. I also do one with men about what they can do. So thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Patty. This was wonderful.
Yeah, and please feel free to pass on my book offer to other folks that you know in Witty. So
Sure.
if they miss a session, they could still benefit from it.
Thanks, Patty.
Thank you so much, everybody. Well, thanks for your help. That was really helpful.
Sure, Patty. It was really nice. Your presentation is really energizing. So it was awesome. Thank you. We'll be in touch. I'll reach out to you on LinkedIn too.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.